Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. This is Eva J's Mystical Messages, and of course it says at the top of the screen so you know where you are. Today I'm going to talk about creativity. And creativity is something that I think is very, very vitally important, especially at this time. When you go through a difficult time, you have to find different ways of coping and dealing with whatever issues that come up. And one of the things that I have done is I have used creative outlets as a way to cope. When I got cancer in 2017, my doctor told me or advised me against going to choir rehearsals and singing. So I had to basically step away from the choir for 6 months while I was going through chemotherapy because I wasn't supposed to be around large crowds of people. And in February 2018, the doctor released me from that and said, yeah, you can, yeah, once the chemotherapy was over, I could go and I could return to singing and return to the choir. So that was something that I was able to do. But during the time that I was going through chemo, I had to find other ways in which to contend with not being able to go and sing in a group of people, which in essence, it helped me when COVID happened because I had already gotten my feet wet, so to speak, on isolating from other people, from being around large groups of people. So when that happened, when COVID happened, then I was able to contend with not going into groups of people. So it was a little easier for me to do that, even though it was not always the easiest thing to do. But there is something in creative endeavors that I have always wanted to do and that I never felt confident about doing, and that is painting. My grandmother painted pictures. She always had like an easel in her home, and she did oil paints. I'm not that courageous. Oil painting is too many chemicals. So my other grandmother did acrylic painting, and acrylic is like watercolors. And these are, paints that you use with water as a base. So when you clean your brushes and stuff, you dip it in water as opposed to oil. So it's or turpentine, I think, is what they used in the oil paintings, but I'm not sure. But anyway, so that just goes to show that I'm not really into the oil painting thing. But I do like painting. It's a relaxing thing to do. But I have to tell you my experiences with painting before I show you what I did or what I started. When I was in rehab, when I went through rehab, we did like a therapeutic painting. So we could take acrylic paint and we could paint a picture. I could not get inspired to do a painting with just a scene or a place or what have you. I just couldn't do it. And so I put a word, and I used the word hope because hope was something that I really, I really was inspired by. So I used that word and I did like an image around the word using different symbols and images and things that meant something to me with regards to how I was getting through the therapy and everything else. And at the end of the session, we were showing our pictures to the group. And when my turn came, I showed my picture. I was pretty proud of it because I thought it was really cool and everything, and I liked it. And the lady who led the group said, "Oh no, that's not right. You didn't do it right." And she was very quick to criticize what I had done. "You weren't supposed to use words," she said. "You weren't supposed to do it that way. You're supposed to do it, images or what have you, but not words, what have you." So I was left feeling pretty dejected about it. And thankfully, that was the last time that I had to do that within that group setting because it made me feel this big, and I really, really did not like it. The other thing that happened to me, and this was several years before that, I had drawn a picture of a celebrity, and I was very proud of it because I can't draw people, but I had put so much heart and soul into drawing this picture, and I was very, very happy with it. And I thought, wow, this is like so amazing. And, being able to do something creative and being able to draw something and just feeling overwhelmingly proud of it. And so I posted it to Facebook, and one of the people who commented said, "Your proportions were completely wrong. You did it wrong. I'm an art history major. I know I have, I've done this, yada, yada, yada." And I ended up feeling again like this. So I didn't want to share anything that I had done with like art, like painting and artwork and stuff like that. So I felt a little bit minimalized, or I guess you could say, because I had made that effort and I felt so proud of it. And it's like, why did I feel proud of this after it was said and done? Because some expert comes in and tells me how wrong it was or how I did it wrong and that I couldn't do it right. And I just felt really, really dehumanized by that. So it was like getting unwanted critique. And it was very, very hard. And I said, I just did not like that feeling that I had where I was feeling critiqued. So with that in mind, I decided to do something that I felt was like kind of like what a child would do. And that is I bought a paint by number. Now, the thing is I can paint, I can draw, I can do things, I can be creative, but I'm not that great at it. I just enjoy it. And let me pause for a moment and I will show you one of the things that I did. Okay, so here I am again. So I wanted to paint. I wanted to do something creative. And so I went on YouTube and I found tutorials about acrylic painting and about easy pictures to do. And so the first one that I did was this. And it's just basic, just color blending and things like that. So I did this and I thought, oh wow, this is kind of fun and everything, and I love the colors and the scheme and everything, and it was really quite easy. It didn't take me very long to do it, but again, very easy, basic painting. And I thought, yeah, this is very cool. And then I found another one, and then I thought, okay, I got inspired and I decided to do a night scene, and so I did this. Again, very easy, basic painting. And I thought, okay, this is really great and everything. And I went and got some more paper. I got some black paper, and I decided to try again, and I did this. So again, these are just basic things that took me maybe an afternoon to do or what have you. And I thought, okay, this is like this is kind of fun and everything. And I had gone and bought a paint by number kit, and I wanted to make and what it is it's a rose, the roses. My father-in-law loved photographing flowers. He always, he would go and he would go out and he photographed flowers, and I photograph flowers too, which is really kind of fun. But at any rate, he photographed flowers, and I thought, oh, this would be so perfect for my mother-in-law for Christmas to paint this and to give it to her for Christmas. So that's what I did. I bought the kit, and so I just started it, and this is where I'm at with it. So it's just a little bit, it's just started, and it's but it's my gift for my mother-in-law for Christmas. And like some people would say, well, paint by number, that's, something kids would do. And, and I got to thinking about it while I was painting, and I was thinking, it takes a very steady hand to be able to paint small areas. I mean, anybody can paint like this. It doesn't take that much. It just, you have to have a special amount of, you have to be able to blend the colors and, do that. But the thing is, to paint, to paint by number, you have to find these little tiny areas, these little tiny spaces here, and be able to fill them in without getting too far out of the lines. You can paint outside of the lines if you want, but you may come up with a very different image than what you really are intending. So that's what I did, and I thought this would be a really great thing to draw, to do cards on, and to see um, if the guides can tell me something about creativity and how it is in relation to just everyday things that we do. So I have my cards. I pulled the Teddy Tarot again because it's so much fun and I really love, or not Teddy Tarot, the Cat Tarot. So I got the Cat Tarot here. I've also got my Gilded Tarot, which is what I use for current events and things like that. So if I need to get any sort of elaboration on it, then I would do that. The other thing that I wanted to show you, and it's also in relation to art and in relation to doing creative projects. I'm not a quilter, okay? I am somebody who finds quilting fascinating and it's fun. And I love doing stuff. But last year I bought this cat image, this cat panel, I guess they call it. And it was just really, really beautiful. So let's see if I can get this up here. So it was this, and it's a cat it's a cat, and let me see if I can get it so that you can see it. Nah, too big. But at any rate, it was a panel and it was a cat. And so I decided to make a quilt from just various cat fabrics and stuff. And so I came up with an idea. I found something online and I came up with an idea to do the quilt. And the funniest thing about doing the quilt is I haven't shown it anywhere. I haven't shown it on Facebook or anything like that because, again, the same person who commented about the proportions on my artwork is the same person who is a hobby quilter, and when I show something that I've done, like with a quilt, I get unwanted critique about it. And so I decided not to post anything about it to social media because I was afraid of being criticized for my creative efforts. So what I want to do is I want to connect with my guides and I want to see if doing creative things for oneself is a positive thing, or if sharing your creative gifts and skills or whatever, or attempts, as in my case with artwork and quilting, um, if that denies other people the opportunity to maybe be inspired to do their own project. So what I want to do is I want to go into this. I want to do a deeper dive into the idea or the notion of creativity and what it represents as far as our spiritual development. So we are in essence spiritual beings. Um, we are um, we are the creators of sometimes of our own reality. I mean, just how we view things, how we view ourselves, how we look at ourselves, and how we perceive everything that's going on around us. So we have a sense that being creative is about finding that release or finding that play where you can do something significant. And this is this is something that I want to explore a little bit. So I've got the cat tarot, and I'm going to pull a few cards, and I'm going to see what all this means in relation to creative endeavors, and what the guides can tell me about the creativity or the creative things that I do, and what it all means, because there's some kind of meaning behind all of this. We get inspired to do things because we want to do them, and creative endeavors are, in essence, what keeps us, keeps the joy in the things that, in life, and in whatever it is we do. So I'm waffling again, but let's see what the cards have to say with regards to creativity. And I've got the Two of Wands. The Two of Wands is about making a choice. I always view this as which road, like the Robert Frost poem, Two Roads Diverged in the Wood, and I took the one less traveled by. This is the idea that I get with this. Creative, when choosing or deciding to do something creative, we choose which path we're going to take, what road we're going to go down, and what we're going to do with regards to how we endeavor to do things. This cat has the two wands, or the two pieces of cat toys, if you will, and he has to decide which one he wants to bat at first. Which way do you want to go? Which one do you want to play with? What area do you want to go down? Do you want to go down painting? Do you want to go down quilting? Do you want to go down singing or playing an instrument or doing this, doing that? Which creative outlet is the right creative outlet for you? That's what this card for me signifies. That finding or determining which way you want to go creatively. It's crossed by the Ace of Cups. And the Ace of Cups, to me, okay, this is what the guides are telling me. Your cup overfloweth. Whatever it is you decide to do, whatever decision you decide to make, it will be fulfilling. When it comes to creativity, whatever you decide to do, whatever area you decide to undertake, it will be a fulfilling endeavor. And your cup will overflow. As you get inspired to do different things, you will see this envelop, this will inspire more and more things. So if you start with painting, or if you start with quilting, or if you start with sewing, or if you start with drawing, or using colored pencils, and drawing, or doing mandalas, or doing whatever it is you're doing, your cup will overflow. You will find yourself veering into other areas that are similar to what it is you started with. So, like with me, I started with mandalas, and I was doing painting. I was coloring using mandalas to color with matte pencils, or colored pencils, and then got interested in painting. So it's like that will veer into other areas, and you will find yourself involved in other areas of creative expression, if you are open to it. And so once you make that decision where you're going, then you will find that that your cup will runneth over with ideas and inspirations. The underlying energy is the King of Swords. Now, the King of Swords, if memory serves, and he is the strong, certain individual. So when you're doing creative things, one of the best ways to go forward is with confidence. I had a choir director when I was in high school, and he said, and this was something he said, and I thought, wow, this is like so amazing, and it actually applies to a lot of various areas in your life. He said, if you're going to make a mistake while singing, make it a loud mistake. Make it an obvious mistake. And the reason is so that you can learn next time that you won't make that same mistake. You won't sing where there's a rest, or you won't sing too high or too low. You won't you won't sing the wrong part or whatever. You know, if you're soprano, you don't sing the alto line, or if you're tenor, you don't sing the bass line, or if you're an alto and you're singing the tenor line, you know, you don't sing the wrong you don't sing the wrong you don't won't sing the wrong thing twice. You'll make a mistake and then you'll move on and you'll say, okay, I'm going to make a mistake. I'm going to not be perfect. It's not, you don't have to be perfect. You don't have to express perfection. You just do what it is you feel inclined to do. And this reminds me of a few weeks ago, we were at a concert and there was a children's choir. And right at the beginning, one of the young girls, one of the girls in the choir, she started singing just before the piano introduction. And she just went like this. And you could tell that she was so concentrated and so centered on what she was doing that she didn't realize that she had started singing before before the choir was supposed to start singing. And her reaction was that she covered her mouth like this. And I just smiled at her, and I just thought that was so sweet. But it reminded me of what the teachers told me about if you're going to sing loud, or if you're going to make a mistake, make it a loud mistake. Make it a mistake that you know you will never repeat that mistake again, but you will at least know that whatever you're doing it with confidence. And that is significant. And I think that that's what the King of Swords here signifies. It's that idea of doing things, whatever it is you're doing, do it with confidence, do it with boldness, do it with security in yourself. That you know, if I make a mistake, okay, I'm going to make a mistake. Nobody's going to put me before a firing squad because I made a mistake. I made a mistake, okay, move on. In the immediate past, you have let's see, this is the Eight of Swords. I love this card. This is so cute. And it's like after you make that mistake, guilty is charged. Here we go. The cat with toilet paper. How many of you who have cats have seen this? That cat that cat has a guilty look on his face. Look at that. Look at his expression. He's like busted. So, yeah, you're going to make a mistake. Busted. Okay, you made the mistake. Okay, it's all right. If you paint under the wrong numbers, if you paint a 1 on the 7, it's okay. When you come back again and do the 7, you can blend the paints together. You can, improvise. That's what this is. You got caught. Okay, I made a mistake. I sang in the wrong place, like the little girl who did that. I sang in the wrong place. Okay, it happens. People are going to do that. People are going to make mistakes. Even in creative outlets, people are going to make mistakes. They're going to sew something too. They're going to sew something too small, and then they have to take it. They have to get a picker, and they have to pick everything out, and then start again. And that's going to happen. You're going to get busted. You're going to be, you're going to be caught with that deer trapped in the headlights look, like this cat who's been busted with the toilet paper. It's going to happen. So the overarching energy is the 6 of Pentacles. And look at that. This is about chilling. So that's what I get from it. It's like, okay, so you're doing this creative thing. Take a break to recharge, to rest, recharge. And remember that that this is that the reward of doing creative things is more inspiration. So once you do creative things, you make mistakes and then you move on and then you say, okay, I'm going to do more. I'm going to do different things. I'm going to do it a different way. The reward is the chance to relax and look at what it is you've done. This cat has the 6 pentacles above his head. He's chilled. He's relaxed. And he's not even eating the little cat treats there. He's just regarding them. He's just looking at them. He's like, yeah, there they are. There's the reward. There's what I did. There's what I've got. There's what I'm, going to show. And it'll be my choice whether or not I show it. If I decide not to show the quilt online, then I'm not going to show the quilt online. But it will be ultimately my choice what I do with it, how I, venture forward. In the immediate future, you have the Four of Cups. Now, the Four of Cups is about, my guides are screaming, missed opportunities. Now, if I decide not to share what it is that I do creatively, if I decide not to share this when it's completed, or if I decide not to share the quilt, or if I decide not to share it, then I may have a missed opportunity. I may actually miss out on something that could be positive. So I could be missing something if I choose to keep it to myself. So to me, this is the message the guides are saying. It says, show what you've got, show what you do. If people criticize it, they're going to criticize it. It's not a critique against you, it's a critique against themselves. Or it's the notion that maybe they spent 4 years studying something, and then you who have never studied this a day in your life are coming out and showing something, and it's like, God, I wish I could have done that. So look at the motives behind why it is the critiques are coming, and then you will be able to handle it better. But don't deny yourself an opportunity if something's being offered to you and you ignore it. Then all you can do is say, okay, I ignored it. I didn't do it. Okay. Externally, we have the Three of Pentacles. I always thought this was the Three of Swords, but it's not. It's the Three of Pentacles. And this is, to me, this is about enjoying the fruits of your labor. But in some ways, it feels like he's ignoring this. See, that's why I thought this was the Three of Swords, because I saw the cat's teeth here. And sometimes the teeth are signified as the swords. So, but if you look at this, the arrow on the box is pointing in this direction. So what he's doing is he's just charting his own course. He's the one that paints outside of the lines. And he's the one that says, okay, it's going to be okay in the end. I'm going to paint outside of the lines, and it's not going to matter what happens, but I'm going to paint outside of the lines and see what comes about, what transpires from it. Internally, you have the High Priestess. Oh, isn't she pretty? And this is the spiritual good that comes from doing anything creative. I always get the High Priestess. I always get the feeling that the High Priestess is a very spiritually motivated. So when you're doing creative things, and when you're doing endeavors and stuff in the creative realm, a lot of times I found myself when I was painting this morning that I was very concentrated. I was very focused on what I was doing, and this was a spiritual practice, and this became a spiritual sort of practice that was taking place. So keeping in mind that everything that we do in a creative sense is sort of a spiritual practice, because a lot of times people go into meditation while they're painting, or people go into meditation while they're sewing. Sometimes people go into meditation when they're cooking. I mean, it can happen where you look at this higher good that comes from when you express yourself creatively. Hopes and fears is the Knight of Swords. And look at how he's reaching for something. He's reaching for that higher level. He's reaching for that better thing that he is doing. But he's not afraid. He's not afraid to jump up and reach out for whatever it is that he's striving to obtain. And it's like when I made my first quilt, I found this very easy pattern on the internet, and had like just blocks. So there was like 7 or 8 blocks or 5 or 6 blocks. And they were big blocks. They were like 20 by 20 centimeters. They were pretty big blocks. And then I'd sewed them together, made a line, and then I did like a frame around it, and then I did some small things. Um, but the one thing that I recognized is that the quilt wasn't that great. I didn't affix the this 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 stuff. I don't know what this stuff is called, so I'll just show it. This stuff, I didn't affix it very well, and what happened was it got inched down, and I had to unstick it, and then I had to take it apart, and then I had to put in a new middle piece so that the thing would spread out. And and then I realized that what I needed to do with this was I needed to, when I would sew it, I needed to make sure that this foamy stuff was affixed properly to the front panel of the quilt so that it wouldn't move around between the two pieces of fabric that would be, put it together. So that's what this is. I think this is about learning. And as you go along, as you make your first quilt or as you make your first picture or your first whatever it is you're doing, you learn as you go how to better improve yourself. And that's what it's all about. It's about learning to do better. Now, somebody who's been doing quilting for 20 years, 20 plus years, can't come to someone who's been doing it only for a year and try to put their expectations onto the person who's only done it for a year, because it's like it's like you can't very well cast aspersions on somebody who's just getting started. Remember when you first started something. Remember when you first started playing an instrument, or when you first started singing in a group, or when you first started sewing, or when you first started, the first bear I made, the nose looked all cattywampus. It wasn't stuffed properly. I had to learn. I had to learn as I went along, and then I was able to make bears that looked good, and I did. Here, this is one of my bears that I made. Now, when I look back on her, when I look back on how I did with her, I notice that the nose is not perfect. See? The nose isn't perfect. There's a little bit of it's a little bit on one side, it's a little bit smaller than the other side. It's not perfect. But I look back on how I did, and I said, "Well, you know what? It's okay." So, I mean, the bear is okay. Um, but as I went along, I got better at making the eyes even. I got better at doing the smile because her smile is lopsided, but it's okay. She's okay. And the thing is, that's what this is about. This is about reaching out and saying, "Okay, I'm going to try. And I may not do it perfectly the first time, and it's okay. I don't have to do it perfect the first time. I do it because I find joy in doing it. And that's what it's about." And the final outcome is the chariot. The chariot is about moving forward, taking the reins, moving forward, finding your creative niche and moving forward with it, and doing the things that make you happy and bring you joy. And that's what this is about. And the guides are telling me that this is about finding joy in doing things, not looking to critique somebody unless they ask you. If I went to somebody and I said, "Look, I'm trying to do this quilt or I'm trying to do this painting. Can you give me a suggestion on how to improve?" And be willing and open to hearing what they say, then then that's good. I'm gonna close by saying 10 years ago, not 10 years ago, 30 years ago, I took private vocal lessons for singing. And one of the things that happened with the lessons was the guy told me that I had to concentrate on my posture, on how I sat. And I don't sit, if I get sat against the back of the chair, I'd sit like this. This is how I'd look. When I sing, I sit up. So my upper torso is straight and I breathe through my diaphragm. That is what the guy said that I needed to do when I would sing. And so when I would sing, anytime that I'm like singing in choir and stuff, I would sit straight up because that is so that my body can correlate with the music and what have you. So that is what I would do. And today we are doing a thing called vocal techniques. And what it is it's going to show us how to improve our singing and as a choir. And I mentioned this to the choir director last week, and this was very interesting. I mentioned it to him last week that I was going to do this. And his response to me made me think that maybe I didn't need it because I already had the techniques. I had learned the techniques already. But I told my husband, I said, you know what? I said, there's always room for improvement. I can always, even if I take one tiny little thing out of what I learned today, if I take that one tiny little thing out of what I learned today, then the 3 hours that I'm there are going to be worth it because I will have gotten that one little tip that I need to improve, and it may make all the difference in the world. So it's not about ego, and it's not about saying I'm perfect and I can do everything great. It's about saying I'm always open. I'm a work in progress. I'm open for the improvement. I'm open for becoming a better singer. I'm open for becoming a better instrumentalist. I'm open for being better at reading tarot. I'm open for being better at sewing and being better at painting, being better at this, being better, whatever it is. I'm open for it. And that's what the guides are telling me. Be open for whatever it is that comes when it comes to creative endeavors. And don't be afraid to try something new because there may be something, you may find a passion there that you never knew you had. So that's the message for today. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for liking, sharing, and subscribing. And I'll see you on the next one. I don't know when I'm going to be back, but today I felt inspired to come on and talk about this topic because I thought it was really, really important. And I hope that whatever it is you decide to do, whatever creative endeavors you undertake, that you do it with all the joy and happiness that there is. Because that's what it really is about finding that joy in you through a creative outlet. Thank you so much. I hope you have a wonderful day. And as always, namaste.